interesting video, and this is what I love when we get to the diss, and this is good. Lou Reed from the Velvet Underground. Remember Walk on the Wild Side, which was a sample by Marky Mark Funky Bunch, was big. But anyway, Lou Reed had that spoken poetic type of vibe and thing. He once said that he thought his band was better than the Beatles. He was underwhelmed by the Beatles. He says it wasn't until John Lennon did solo work that he respected them. I often have heard some known people diss the Beatles. I'm going to do others of talking about it. Um, Especially when you think about their peers and so on and so forth. This is back when people were a lot more honest about stuff. Nowadays they politic and they grin and everybody great, everybody work with everybody about all that. There were people who really didn't respect certain things by other artists. They didn't think their songwriting chops were up to point. They didn't think their musicianship was anything to sneeze at. They didn't like their arrangements. There's a lot. Now, the Velvet Underground was a decent band, and I thought Lou Reed did cool for what he did. But I don't hardly listen to Lou Reed to be thinking that you can sit there and diss the Beatles. I mean, you don't really care. Didn't carry that kind of weight. All due respect, didn't carry that kind of weight as a songwriter, as an artist. But I can understand if you're speaking of it as a fan, if you listen to music in general. You know, what I will say about the Beatles is this: Lennon and McCartney sit at the table with anybody else you want to mention as far as songwriters. The dynamic duo they were. After that, George Martin was a really good producer. He really fleshed out a lot of their sounds and their styles. I will give that to George Martin. He was really good with them. But everything else with them is hit and miss because I like McCartney as a bassist. I like some of the musicianship. Lennon was all right. George Harrison had a distinctive sound. Certain things that he had, and I like what he would do. Uh, Ringo was average to below as a drummer. They really had hit and miss solo careers. There were some things I liked, a lot I didn't. George Harrison was like the quiet pen. He actually had that moment, some songs that he wrote where he stood up. But if I'm going by some of the stuff they did, some of it could be considered kind of, hit and miss. But again, the songwriting, the songs that hit were great. It's just that they had some stuff that was whimsical and kind of just, it loaned itself for someone else better to sing the songs. Let's just say that because his vocalist, so I get that. But he